So, since everybody and their mother have already made a review on Chapter 5, I want to keep my thoughts brief and only talk about things that really stuck out to me, whether that's good or bad. Also, as usual, please go watch or play Chapter 5 for yourself so you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, allow me to get started with the stuff I didn't like. Getting this out of the way first, one of the things I didn't like are a few of the puzzles. Specifically the one where Giblet and Chum watch you do it. Because while I'm trying to figure out what I need to do, there's a timer that does added to it. I'm of the belief that they added this timer to bloat the playtime, or in other words, pad the game. It's further insulted when Giblet annoyingly says,
Oh, I know. Have you tried solving the puzzle?
while you're struggling to figure out what you did wrong. Like, what does it look like I'm doing, you frickin' gremlin? Another similar puzzle I find annoying is this one, where you gotta pull 2 power sources to the left using these piston timers. As you can see, I'm clearly struggling to get this one moving efficiently because of the small window of time you're given. And yes, while you can keep pulling on the power source while repeatedly pushing the piston upwards, I only figured that out during my 3rd playthrough to get this footage. It's still annoying and not very fun or satisfying to complete. Now I like to describe my experience when playing Lily's Chase. So it starts with Kissy running away with Poppy and... Wait, hold on. I didn't even realize this at first, but originally, when trying to follow Kissy, you'd run straight into Lily without any warning and get caught. However, I am happy to say they fixed this since the game slows you down so this doesn't happen. But even then, the door right behind the player was closed previously, meaning most would believe it's locked, causing them to still be caught, so it just amounts to being a bandaged solution. Another issue I have is with all the destruction going on in the dollhouse, it can be confusing where the game wants you to go. In most instances I've seen, obstructed paths indicate they're unavailable. Clearly, this is not the case here since you're intended to crouch down and continue. Personally, I believe this is a counterintuitive design in a way. Now I'll close this part off with how strict the time limit is. Because if you were to slow down even for a second, then prepare to be given an ungenerous timer by Lily counting on 5 and ultimately jump scaring you when she's finished. I find it particularly annoying when I'm struggling to grapple myself up onto the attic because this is where the problem is most apparent for me. More nitpicky stuff with the sudden, forced, literally unavoidable slow walking speed when going over things like this catwalk, which are really annoying. The useless and underutilized mechanics like Globy aren't needed since this thing is only ever used as a shitty flashlight like once. Plus, the fruit you have to pop from this weird invasive tree doesn't need to be here either since, like I said, it's only ever used once and then never again as it proceeds to be completely forgotten about for the rest of the game. With this all being said, what do I like from this chapter? Well, there's actually quite a few things. The most obvious thing is the prototype's reveal. Apparently some people don't like this design or something. I haven't seen that much hate besides thinking the design is just okay, but I usually steer clear of Twitter, so pretty sure the majority of negativity is being quarantined there. But I actually quite like it myself. Despite the fact that this is obviously not what he was intended to always look like, I believe this design still works as is. Here's a little chart I even put together to just further elaborate on why I think so. His voice is absolutely spectacular too. It's this garbled mess of low and high pitches, with a mixture of feminine, masculine, and robotic sounding vocals. Ooh.
I did.
What I had to.
Very.
A better place now.
Poppy Playtime took the whole done to death mimicking voice gimmick and expanded it to make a more intimidating and cool villain. Oh, also Prototype's rather fun to draw sometimes. I'm pretty sure despite its obvious issues, I actually kind of like the gameplay of Chapter 5 at certain points. It's low-key satisfying to just run through the game all willy-nilly knowing what I need to do now. In fact, I think this chapter is the one where I remember actively replaying it the most out of all of them. The unexpected humanization of goddamn Huggy Wuggy was actually very welcoming. I love how the game shows us firsthand not only what these kids have been through using the memory tapes we find, but also gives proper context to why they're so bloodthirsty in the first place. All of them were hurt in one way or another, and as a child would, unleash that anger through the hour of joy and finally enacted their revenge. It makes you sympathize with what are not monsters, but once people now fallen into despair. Something that FNAF should have done from the very start of its story, but hey, I'm not here to rant about that. Speaking of Huggy, by the way, the first visible interaction between him and Kissy was really sweet and felt beautifully peaceful, especially with the music accompanying it. What are they gonna do? This is the first time we've seen them ever interact. Are you? Oh, you asshole. That is until this guy ruins it. Now moving on to the moment you've probably all been waiting for. Lilylove braids. I don't know if you can tell, but I love this character. Not only is her presentation the most intriguing out of every single other one in the franchise, it turns out that she has the best backstory of all, I feel. Basically, during the retrieval of Huggy's said memories, you come across this character named Miss Gracie. She, along with the scientists, were responsible for forcing the children to undergo the brainwashing process so they could later be turned into, well, what we see them as now. Again, I can't help but express how surprisingly despair-inducing sorry, I've been playing a lot of Danganronpa. This chapter had turned out to be by showing us firsthand exactly what happened. My empathy for these kids have increased thanks to this, and in a way, I can understand where they're coming from. But I mention all this because there's 2 audio logs that can be found. One of them is inside the dollhouse's attic. It turns out Miss Gracie got ambushed by what can only be assumed to be bigger body versions of Hoppy Hopscotch and Baba Chops during the Hour of Joy, where she was kidnapped and later brought to the prototype so he could transform her into what we now know as lilylove braids after getting brainwashed herself.
Hey there, friends. It's a sunny day.
Miss Gracie. Dear Miss Gracie. You have a first name, what was it? What are we talking about, Miss Gracie? Is this another lesson? Oh, just ignore her. She's not real. It's only you here. Just you. Aren't I real, Miss Gracie? Miss Gracie says I'm real. I am Miss Gracie. Snap out of it. Silly. She's on the screen. She's not actually in the room with us. Look around. My hands. Plastic. My face. I thought. How embarrassing! I can't believe I thought you were actually in the room, Miss Gracie. Egg on my face. I love Huggy and I love Kissy and I love all the friends. I want to go home. No, we're gonna have a tea party. I love tea parties and I love crumpets. Crumpets are the best. Please let me out. No, we can brush our hair and hang with the friends.
Sink down and quiet. You are a toy. You have always been a toy.
I am a toy, Miss Gracie. I'm a good toy. I promise.
Are here to be joy.
I don't really care for Gilbert or Chum. They just low-key feel like gender-bent versions of Poppy and Kissy at the end of the day, made to sell even more merch. Also, Giblet is kind of annoying with this whole, I'm not a hero. Like, brother, you literally saved us from drowning inside a poppy gel, or whatever the hell this bootleg remnant having ass thing is actually supposed to do. The Doctor's surprise return at the end was unexpected, but at the same time, I can't say it was entirely unanticipated. After all, he did say that he buried himself so far down the factory that not even the prototype could find him.
I'll bury myself so far down that no one will ever find me. Not you, not the prototype, not anyone.
However, this leads to the implication that the main game will keep going past Chapter 5, which worries me for so many reasons. On one hand, this means Poppy's quality of its story and gameplay might suffer even further if it continues to have a couple more chapters past 5. Second is the game's file size is getting freaking ridiculous. I mean, 70 gigabytes? And that's just taking it for what's already there. Who knows how many more chapters this game is going to have. The pricing is getting really dumb too. Two of the most recent chapters kind of feel like a step back from what made Chapter 3 so great for many, and causes the continuous price increase to feel unjustified for what feels like a lower quality product. But I think these developments have made me realize just how greedy mob entertainment actually is. I won't get too in-depth on that front though, as I might be treading unfamiliar territory. I wouldn't want to be talking out of my ass after all. So to conclude this video with some hope, here's what I do. Optimize the game so it's less than what might end up being 90 to 100 gigabytes. Ensure the game quality feels good and polished on the first playthrough for the most part, rather than feeling better on a second. This will also justify the price increase in the future. And go back to certain chapters in the game to try refining the rougher edges that made them so flawed in the first place. Alright, well, that should be all I have to blabber about today. I hope you enjoyed this review, even though I'm sorta late to the party. But I mean, it's Poppy Playtime, surely you'll get enough attention regardless. So yeah, guess I'll be waiting to come back and review like Chapter 6, Revenge of the Poopamoles, where O-Block the Sock makes his grand debut as another ally to the prototype, trying to scrutinize your plan to defeat them as Giblet and the Doctor, who's now knockoff Potatoes, stand by your side, or something stupid like that. Anyways, goodbye for now.
I can finally leave! Martha, I'm coming home, sweetie! I'm back in the